This tip is going to drop 20% off your handicap literally in 5 seconds. All you have to do is ask yourself these 4 questions. First, how is my lie? Second question, where do I want to land it? Third question, what is the loft or trajectory? And fourth question, what club do I hit? All right, so the truth is that the 4 lies that I have right here are all going to react dramatically different. And the reason why you may not be playing and shooting the scores that you want is not because necessarily your golf swing. It's just because of the fact that you're not asking enough questions when you play. Now, when you play golf, and it doesn't matter where you are, what skill level you are, it doesn't matter. You always have to ask these 4 questions. The first question that we need to ask is, how is our lie? So how the lie is determines what's going to happen to the ball when it exits the grass, right? Is it going to have more spin, less spin, travel farther, travel shorter? And all of that stuff can have a massive impact on whether or not you're hitting greens. And hitting greens is the #1 determining factor on whether or not you're, quite frankly, good at golf, right? Like Scotty Scheffler, the #1 ball striker in the world, he's hitting greens and fairways, and understanding how these different balls are reacting is going to have a massive impact on your score. So if we just look at this lie is in the rough, but you can see that it's very barren, right? Like there's not a lot of grass around it. So when I hit this ball, the club speed, there's going to be no drop in club speed because it's not going through any grass to slow it down. At the same rate, it's going to have the same amount of spin as a normal shot from the fairway. So luckily, if I were to hit in the rough and hit this shot, I wouldn't really have to worry very much about how it's going to perform. It's going to perform just fine. Now, if we have this lie, you can see this lie is a little bit different than that lie. This lie, there's a little bit more grass. So what's going to happen is the club's going to slow down just a little bit, which means the ball's going to go a little shorter. So if I hit a 7-iron, 175, which is how far we are, this ball out of this lie is going to go a little shorter with club speed, but it's going to be offset because of the fact that it's going to have less spin, so it's going to fly farther. This lie is what we call a jumper, right? This ball is going to fly further, so I wouldn't want to hit like a normal stock 7-iron here. I maybe would just drop a little bit off so that I can hit it towards the flag. Now this one, this is way different. You can see how much grass is on the ball. Tons of friction between the club head and the ball. When I hit this, and learning how to hit this, that's like another video in itself. But when I hit this ball, you can see the club is going to slow down a bunch. The spin is going to drop. So I probably wouldn't want to hit a 7-iron here. I probably want to hit a 6-iron. I'm going to really want to tighten the last 3 fingers of my left hand, because when this club goes through, that club is going to want to spin, snap the hosel, and then that's going to make me end up in the water, which would be no good. But so that's what I'm going to do. Tighten my grip, last 3 fingers, really take a deep divot, and try to hit that puppy so it sails like towards the green, maybe a little bit to the right side. Now we have the fairway lie. The fairway lie, hopefully this is the one that you're in all the time. This is just your normal lie, right? So on this shot, we don't have to do anything special. We can just set up like we normally do in just the driving range, and it's just another shot. Yardage is yardage. And then just make your swing, right? So that's the first question, is how is our lie? Now we need to go to the second question of where to land it. 4 on the green. Try to stick with me. We're going to do a little bit of arithmetic. Now I'm drawing this green, right? Now, right now, the pin on this flag is 4 paces off the right. And you go, Kyle, how do you know that it's 4 paces off the right? Well, if you look at a flag is 2.5 feet or 2.5 yards tall, right? So 7 feet. So if I looked at the flag and I said, how many times have I kicked over the flag would it take to get to the edge of the green? You'd go, about 1.5, maybe 2. So you go, yeah, that's like 4 or 5 paces, right? So I'm 160 yards and the pin is 4 paces off the right. So now the question is, where do you want to land it? Hey, I'm sorry for interrupting the video, but I want to give you an opportunity to get better and get better for free. It's a 3-part video series where I show you how to practice and what you need to look for to actually build consistency into your game. It's completely free and you can find it at the link below. And now back to the video. I'm 160 yards. So I need to take 16, which is the 1 and 6 of 160. I need to divide that by 2, which is 8, which means that if the pin, if this is my green, this is the edge of the green right here, if this is 4 paces, the closest that I can aim is 4 paces to the left of the flag, because that's 8, right? If I was 200 yards, that'd be 20, that'd be 10, meaning I'd have to be aiming 6 paces to the left, right? If I was 100 yards, right? Well, if I'm 100 yards, the baseline's 5, right? 10 divided by 2 is 5, meaning I would aim 1 pace to the left. And this is the most aggressive, conservative target, which is really important because the average tour player, listen, the average tour player makes 3 birdies a round. The average recreational amateur makes 1 birdie. So the difference between you shooting lower scores is not the amount of birdies that you make. You and Scotty Scheffler are not separated by birdies. What you're separated by is the amount of bogeys and doubles, really doubles that you're making. And by doing this and choosing the right spot to land it and playing to the most aggressive, conservative target, or what Tiger Woods would say, his spot, you are giving yourself the best chance to make a par, which is what this game is about. It's about making pars and stacking up those little victories, as I call like death by paper cuts to the scorecard, right? Like you want to make it to where you win the scorecard, you win the war, and you come out on top, and it's just this like boring round of golf where you're just fairway green, fairway green, fairway green. So be sure to stick around, and maybe you can just binge watch this stuff because we got a ton of stuff and telling you the truth as to actually build consistency, shoot lower scores, some technical stuff, some game performance stuff, even some fun stuff. Noodles. Everything in golf revolves around noodles. All right, so we're at the third question. The third question is, what is the loft or trajectory? Now, we've covered how's the lie, where do we want to land it. Now, the wind can have a crazy, crazy, crazy impact on your scorecard, and it has nothing to do with your golf swing. Listen, there's one thing I can guarantee you in this video, and that is that if you look at the weather apps, you will never see the wind say 0 miles an hour. If it is, the world is coming to an end, right? So there's definitely wind. So like if you look at right now, this wind with the flag that's not even moving, the wind is 7.8 miles an hour, gusting to 13. Now, because you're here, I'm gonna give you a special gift where I'm gonna give you a full chart that tells you what the ball would travel from if it was 5 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour, 15 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour, but wind has a dramatic impact. So on this shot, we have a 150-yard shot into the wind, call it 10 miles an hour. That would be the average. If it's into the wind from 150, that's 162 yards that is playing into the wind. If it was downwind, it'd be 144 yards, right? 162 yards, that's like a full club. And you would never even guess that because you look at the pin and you go, there's no wind here, it's not doing anything. And then you hit a shot and now you would hit it, let's say 12 yards short because you hit it perfect. And now you have a 36-foot putt, which massively opens up your 3-putt percentage because from that 3-putt percentage, if you're about a 15 handicap, you're going to 3-putt about 20-25% of the time. So having and calculating the wind is a big deal. But the problem is like when you play golf, right, you pull up next to the cart, you come up, you shoot your pin, you're like, oh, it's 150. And then you're like, that's my 8-iron. And then you walk in, you like kind of make a practice swing. And then you walk in, you're like, hey, it kind of feels like it's a little bit into the wind. So now you're like making calculations over the ball, and that does not allow you to be an athlete. These 4 questions are what the 4 questions that I learned from my team when I was playing professional golf from Vision 54, and that's called the think box. In this think box, we are doing just that. We are thinking, right? And when we're thinking, we're using what's called our prefrontal cortex. That prefrontal cortex processes 40 messages a second. When we're over the golf ball, what's called the play box, we need to be using our motor cortex. That's 11 million messages a second. So the problem is you're like, I'm such a head case when I'm on the course. And I go, right, because you're over the ball thinking about the wind and all of those things, and you're using your prefrontal cortex, that 40 messages a second processor. So no wonder you're making an uncommitted swing. And then you make an uncommitted swing, you hit it in the bunker, you make a double, and you're like, oh my God, I suck again, right? So we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we're doing all of the calculations behind the ball in the think box, using the prefrontal cortex, so that when we move into hitting the golf ball, we are playing golf. Because listen, friends, golf is a sport and it needs to be played. You cannot think golf, right? We want to do all of our calculations and then walk into the ball and play. So this wind calculation, right, of what we call loft or trajectory has a dramatic impact on how far that ball travels. So we've got how's the lie, where do we want to land it, what loft or trajectory, and then finally, what club. So let's talk about that club and what you need to do and how you choose the right club for hitting the proper shot. All right, so you got those 4 questions, right? It's how's the lie, where do I want to land it, what is the loft or trajectory or the wind, and realizing there is always wind. And then the final question is what is the club? But the question is now I'm 150 yards, right? It's 162 yards into the wind. My 8-iron goes 164. So if I'm into the wind 164 yards, should I hit an 8-iron? No, friends, I want to hit a 7-iron. But the question that I have to you, right, if I hit a 7-iron 176 in the air, How many times do you go to the range and let's say it's me and I have a 7-iron and I go, I'm going to hit my 7-iron, but I'm going to hit it 164 yards, not 176 yards. That is a way different part of swinging, right? And you're probably like, yeah, Kyle, I get that, man, but I'm just trying to like hit the green, right? Like I'm just trying to make solid contact. I get that too. Right? But we got to make sure that we're making committed decisions and understanding how far the ball truly carries on average. Because like I said at the beginning of this video, 65% of tour players hit short of the average yardage, so of their desired yardage. So if you have a 150-yard shot and you put all the PGA Tour players right here where I'm standing, their balls will be 65% short of the pin. And those are the best players in the world. The best of all time, who do you think it is? Right? Maybe you comment below, but you guess it, it's Tiger Woods, right? Tiger Woods was 49% long, 51% short. So it's no surprise that the best player, one of the best iron players of all time had the best dispersion of the pattern. So the challenge that I have for you is to understand how far you truly carry your clubs, not your Sunday best, right? If you were going to go out and you were going to play and you were going to hit 107 iron, say at the golf room here in Columbus, Ohio, and you took out 20% of the shots that were just terrible, right? You can't even account for those. No one can. And you took the average of those 87 irons. What would the average carry be? And you want to know what the carry is because today, right? Today it's muggy and the course is wet. So the ball is not rolling. So I need to know how far the ball is carrying, not how far the total is. Because if I go to, let's say, St. Andrews, where it's really firm, then that ball is going to release way more. So the carry is the number that you really care about, not the total distance. So here we are, we're 150, it's into the wind 10 miles an hour, it's 162, right? So I'm going to take my 7-iron, which is my 176-yard pin, or 176-yard club, and I'm going to hit it 162 because now I've made a proper swing and now I can go through my process and really just commit to seeing the shot, seeing what a perfect shot looks like here, set my feet, picture my target, and hit a stock shot. And there you have it. So now I'm not over the ball thinking about what I need to do. I'm just thinking about doing it. I'm just seeing a picture and hitting the picture that I see. All of the calculations are done behind the ball in that think box. How is my lie? Where do I want to land it? What is the loft or trajectory? And then what club? If you do this, you will have more success on the golf course because you'll finally be committed to the targets that you're wanting to play, and you will know what the ball is doing and basically be able to manage your score through the course. We were back here in the fairway and you can see what it is. I want to show you exactly, once again, how to do this. So if this is the flag, right, and we look at the flag, and I am 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paces off the side of the green. That's how far the flag is, right? If I was 100 and let's say 80 yards, we'll use the noodle so you can see it. If I was 180 yards, that's 18 divided by 2 is 9. Well, I'm 5 paces off the side. So that means that I need to aim 1, 2, 3, 4 paces off. So this is the most aggressive, conservative spot to that flag, right? Because it was 180, 18 divided by 2 is 9, which now that's 9 paces off the edge, right? The pin is 5, I add 4, that's 9, right? So just some simple arithmetic. Let's just say I was 200 yards. I would aim here, right? Now, there's something that I want to give you, and this is the bonus stuff, right? Is that there's something called modifiers. Modifiers are water and bunkers. So in the event that you have water on the near side of where the pin is, you need to add 3 paces. So for here, you can see there is water. So the pin, let's just pretend I'm 180 yards. The baseline that I need to aim is 9 paces. 18 divided by 2 is 9. So now it's 5 paces. So now I need to go my 9, right? So this is 9 paces off the edge. But then I have water. So now I need to add 3 more, 2, 3. And now this is where I actually would aim for that pin. Right? So it'd be 12 paces from the edge of the green, which from here, if the pin is 5, if I hit a perfect shot, that would give me a 24-foot putt, right? 7 times 3, because 3 feet is a pace, right? And if you had a bunker, let's just say, for example, the pin was right here, and I was back there, and I was 140 yards. Well, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So the pin is 4 paces off the side. I'm 140, so 14 divided by 2 is 7. So if the pin is 4 paces off the side, I need to add 3. So that's 1, 2, 3. But if I have a bunker, I need to add 2 more. So now this becomes the spot in which I need to aim, right, for that pin. And if I'm sitting in the rough, I need to add 2. Not if there's rough by the green, but if the ball's in the rough, like one of those buried lies, I need to add 2 more, right? So bunkers adds 2, water adds 3, and rough adds 2. And if you do this, what it does is it surrounds the green with the largest, most aggressive conservative shot pattern, because everyone has a shot pattern, right? Like the balls come out like a shotgun. It gives you the shot pattern that allows you to hit the most amount of greens, and the stats don't lie. This is not a Kyle Morrisism. The stats are if you hit more greens, you shoot lower scores. It is very, very simple, right? So by following these 4 questions, I'm giving you the best chance of hitting the green by asking, how's my lie? Where do I want to land it? What is the loft and trajectory? And then what club? By doing this, you don't have to change your golf swing. You just have to manage where you miss. You always hear tour players say, like, it's a game of misses. Well, now you know what tour players are thinking to manage their miss and shoot lower scores. Thanks so much, and we'll see you guys next time right here.